Chapter 5960. Swish. Jian Wushuang, who had been ready for a long time, rushed into the crack in a flash. The sword of myriad tribulations behind it also erupted with the power belonging to the starry sky at this moment. It turned into a dark blue streamline and entered the interior of the pyramid. Metal Light Brain was startled when he saw the blue Jian Wushuang, and hurriedly rushed into the eyes of the black puppet. Want to forcibly start this puppet. But the power of life contained in the current puppet is all Danbao. No matter how he manipulated it. After Jian Wushuang went deep into the pyramid, he let out a wicked smile, raised his hand to draw his sword, and destroyed it. Countless metal particles wanted to attack him, but they were all shattered by the power of the starry sky. Without the metal puppet, the black puppet cannot be mobilized. Metal Light Brain, completely helpless. He could only beg for mercy. Jian Wushuang, stop now, you are the master of the universe, you don't need to fight like this, and you don't need to be reborn. I can give you a lot of treasures, and I can help you become the 9 tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang ignored the opponent. The sword chi persists for a long time, and it kills arbitrarily. The more urgent the other party, the safer he is. It means that the Metal Light Brain has no backhand. Can only beg for mercy. Damn, how can I fall? The worst plan that Metal Light Brain had thought about was that Danbao would fall when he became the of life. He could close his eyes when he died in the hands of a of life. But to be killed by a Cosmos Master of the 6 Tribulations realm is simply a shame. Click. Some special conversion passages connecting the pyramid were also destroyed by Jian Wushuang Yijian. The Metal Light Brain completely lost hope, and the black puppet also stopped working at this moment. When it was running, he couldn't manipulate it, and now he couldn't. For the Metal Light Brain, he now has nowhere to hide. Jian Wushuang held the sword of myriad tribulations upside down, took a step forward and came directly to the black puppet, stared at the eyes that dimmed from the red light, and said coldly, "Come out, I can make you look decent." If it wasn't for the lack of time, he really wanted to ask the other party what Nan Shikong was like. Because from the Realm King, he knows other time and space, which is different from the northern time and space. He came out of the primordial universe and arrived in the ancient moon spacetime without any barriers. It is because the northern time and space are all practitioners. South time and space are different. Where the practice method is not only different from theirs, but even the life is different. So he was a little curious. The Metal Light Brain was about to cry. He dragged his mechanical feet and walked out of the black puppet's eyeballs. Jian Wushuang, I remember you, you must not die. Can't afford to lose. Jian Wushuang never expected that after the other party came out, he would say such a sentence. After all, he is also a powerful man with a head and face, which makes the king of the realm find it difficult. As a result, the first time they met, they started cursing. If the opponent wins, he has to face death generously. Never so foolish. Simply shameful. Curiosity about Nanshikong disappeared immediately. Just want to fix each other and leave. The Metal Light Brain went completely crazy and fell into madness. You will definitely die, I swear. Thanks, I'm waiting. Jian Wushuang was somewhat amused by the other party's words. He had heard such words no less than 100 times. Then what? No one could kill him. But this time, it's different. Before he could make a move, Metal Light Brain chose the divine power Vulcan crystal that exploded within his body. The huge explosion turned the inside of the pyramid into ashes. This explosion can kill the peak powerhouse of the 8 tribulations realm. If Jian Wushuang was not prepared, he might have really fallen. In the dust, a green light enveloped Jian Wushuang, unscathed. That is Danbao's shield of life. Completely covered his entire body. Is this the backhand? Jian Wushuang laughed at himself, that's too weak. Just when he was relaxed, he found that the black puppet disappeared. He searched everywhere but couldn't find the black puppet. The tenacity of the black puppet left no scum that could not be destroyed. Jian Wushuang was a little worried, and after searching around for a while, he found 2 soft armors. And some identity tokens. Shi-Chi, Shi-Ba. They are the 2 7 tribulations realm powerhouses of the Stone Country. At the beginning, They also entered the Wanliu universe with them. It's just that they have a lot of strength, only more than 1 million divine power. Follow Lianxing. Jian Wushuang didn't care too much. Later, after the Shenmu king brought people out of the secret realm of the cave, he was no longer in sight. He thought he had fallen. Seeing their soft armor and identity token, there is a high probability that the metal light brain is controlled. Metal light brain can enslave up to 10 metal golems. Among those puppets, there are no Shi and Shi Ba, the two strong men of the stone country. Jian Wushuang was sure, because after those metal puppets were angry, they did not change their appearance, but their skin color turned silver. That is to say, Shi and Shi Ba, the two stone country powerhouses, have been under house arrest in the pyramid by the metal light brain. It should be normal to be destroyed now. But why is the black puppet gone? His doubts turned into surprise in the outside world. The destroyed pyramid has no power. Just an ordinary metal treasure. Can be opened at will. When he went out, he discovered that there was a black hole outside. The people above the immortal temple showed strange expressions when they saw him. Returning to the Temple of Immortality, he understood only after Wu Li and others explained it. Something came out of the pyramid. 2 streamers. 2 figures. Stone 7, Stone 8. Before the metal light brain exploded, the last order was issued. The origin and divine power in the black puppet were all transferred into the 2 people. Just like the threat to Jian Wushuang. After the 2 went out, the goal was to kill Jian Wushuang. Black puppets have the power of robbery. Shi and Shi Ba, who had high hopes from the metal light brain, had combat power comparable to the 9 Tribulations realm. So, this time it wasn't a verbal threat, it was a real threat. After going out, it is very likely that they will be chased and killed by these 2. Wu Li and others don't know much. But Jian Wushuang thought of what he said before the metal light brain exploded, and he already had guesses. But now in Wanliu universe. And Dan Bao is about to go to the ladder of becoming a god. He didn't care about these things either. Instead, he was more concerned about the origin that Weiss wanted. A piece of purple origin. After handing it over to Weiss, Jian Wushuang also obtained the first half of the Zizai Ji Gong as he wished. After looking at it for a long time, I found that I couldn't understand it, so I carefully put it away, and after I went out, I slowly cultivated. The immediate priority now is to go to the ladder of becoming a god. So I didn't talk to Weiss too much and left. Above the Temple of Immortality, 3,000 golden armor guards, standing in the quartet. 10 silver armor puppets, lined up aside. Chapter 5961. Light of God 3 life messengers, standing behind Danbao. This force can already dominate the ancient moon space-time. King Shenmu and the others were very excited. The good days had finally come. They had tried their hardest in front of them, and now they are unrestrained and natural. The great monk, the ladder of becoming is left now, hurry up and take us there. The Lord of Hungmu was also very relaxed, and was already waiting to become a messenger of life. The big monk blinked, twitched his nose, and walked towards Dan Bao, and said respectfully, "Little master, the ladder of becoming is in the source of the core of the universe. See, we are going now. Without the threat, naturally there is no need to wait, let's go now." Dan Bao raised his head and moved his scepter. The immortal temple immediately shattered time and space and began to move. As for the broken silver pyramid, it has been taken away by Jian Wushuang. This is a good treasure, and naturally it will not be thrown away. There is also the cosmic boat of baby Di, but it was taken away by the quick-witted Shenmu king. The biggest trophy is Kai Jiuxiao. It was eventually suppressed by the Temple of Immortality. No more talk. Maybe when Danbao becomes the true goddess, he will recover again. This is the fear of all of them. The immortal temple is constantly moving, under the guidance of the great monk. They soon reached the true core of the cosmic sea. The origin of the willow tree. A place where the source of life inspires. The ladder of becoming is inside. They can even be seen with the naked eye. The power above is close to God. Just watching will benefit them immensely. The Temple of Immortality stayed on the edge. Jian Wushuang looked at them with fiery eyes, but unfortunately they were not qualified to set foot on this ladder of godhood. Otherwise, for the power of life, he can still go to the next level. For the source in the Guantian chessboard, he can also create the most powerful life. Last step. Dan Bao rose into the air. The Dharma body, which was unable to leave the immortal temple, can move at this moment. He slowly walked out of the temple and stepped into the ladder of becoming a god. The entire Wanliu Shenmu was trembling. Ancient wood continent. Above the Wanliu divine realm, countless strong men have gathered to station. An era has passed since the king of Shenmu brought people into the Wanliu Shenmu. The superpowers stationed in the outside world are not only the 9 heavens and 10 places, but also some of the universe masters of the 8 catastrophe realms in the 9 great time and space. The Lord of the Universe from the ancient moon sect also sat here for hundreds of millions of years. They are all waiting for the Shenmu king and others to come out. After a period of silence, Wanliu divine realm suddenly shook the mountain, and a ray of divine light rose up. The super powerhouses stationed here stepped out of the cave one after another and looked at Wanliu Shenmu. Are you going out? Divine light. New era. Everyone held their breath. Are waiting for something. The 3 ancient existences of the northern time and space are also watching the movement here. A new era will come when Danbao becomes the of life. That is the era that belongs to all practitioners. It is also the era when the robbery realm truly breaks through the self. Rebirth era. They don't know that in order to open up this era, many people have left their lives. At the cost of blood. Above the 9 dimensions. On the realm. After seeing the movement of Wanliu Shenmu, the realm king was also shocked. Heart cannot help but sigh. His northern time and space is also about to embark on the road of resurrection. More powerful practitioners will be born in the future. Finally, it's time for business. The realm king let out a sigh of relief. Being the master of one time and space is not that easy. Not much power, not little position. Without ability, strength is not enough. This is the realm king. Speaking of the god of life, he is also his subordinate, but it is not that simple to come up with a god of life in the northern time and space. It's not something that can be done by simply pulling someone up on the street. It requires a step-by-step plan, pulling one hair and moving the whole body. On Jiwang Star, Jiwang is not alone. There is also an acquaintance of Jian Wushuang. Yuzuo. Seeing that the king's expression moved slightly, he quietly stepped forward and asked, "Old man, what's going on down there?" Jian Wushuang and others spent several epochs in Wanliu Shenmu. The outside world has passed an era. The original 10 people, each achievement is not small. Among them, there is also the help of the king. Such as Wu Zhuo. It was even accepted by the realm king as a direct disciple. It was also sent to the world god continent. Now he is the lord of the universe of the 7 tribulations realm. Originally, according to Wu Zhuo's character, he was going to return to Qi Temple for a long time, but he was kept pressed by the king. Now Wu Zhuo also sees it clearly. Dear, this chapter is not over, there is another page, big smiley face. The realm king's plan is no trivial matter. The matter of Qishan Temple is not that simple. The threat of extinction is far less so. Fan Tianfeng and the others who had returned to Qi Temple all fell. Witch Flame God, the top combat power of the 8 tribulations realm, just went to a Dharma body, but it fell together with the deity. Because of this incident, there was a lot of noise in the ancient moon space-time. Especially the ancient wood continent. The Shenmu king went to Wanliu Shenmu. The flame gods fell. Only the ancestor of Shiguo remained. And that old ancestor was also unlucky. It is the beginning of a new era. The powerhouses from all sides gathered in the ancient wood continent. Shiguo also lost its former color. Not long ago, it also died. On today's ancient wood continent, only the Lord Yunji of the daughter country and the re-established female emperor of the Yu kingdom were supporting the facade. As for which of the ancient moon divine sect's Fenghu experts, they have long since been transferred. In the current Gumu continent, Pope Jiu is personally in charge. Not to mention the 7 tribulation realm, Even the 8 tribulation realm is very common. They are all waiting for the appearance of King Shunmu and others. This is also the news that the Realm King deliberately released. Through the 3 ancient existences, all the robbery powerhouses were notified. The opening of a new era lies in the Wanliu Shunmu. The appearance of the Shunmu King is the opening day of the era. And that era is called the Era of Resurrection. Not only all the tribulation realms, but also the Realm King himself is extremely excited. Here Wu's was question. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and asked incredulously, "Aren't you in a hurry to return to the Qi Temple?" "Don't worry, you will be able to go back soon." "Is this true?" Wu's couldn't believe his ears. He thought he heard it wrong. Huichi Temple. The original 10. Only he and Fan Tianfeng have different feelings for Qi Temple. Because he is a disciple of Qishan. Although it is a named disciple. But it is also the only named disciple still alive. Now that he is practicing Mahayana, he has no reason not to go back. He wants to revive the former glory of Qi Temple. The powerhouses who led the Qishan Temple lineage created a huge territory in the northern time and space. The way of the god of Qi remain forever. It's true, but you have to wait for your partner, the Realm King affirmed. Wu's heard the word partner, his eyes flashed, and he turned to look at the king, Jian Wushuang, these years. He has been to all the 9 worlds. End of this chapter, dear, this chapter is over. I wish you a happy reading. Big smiley face. Chapter 5962. Knowing that the 10 of them all descended after Guu time and space. He has been wandering in the 9 heavens and 10 places of the ancient moon spacetime. Also found a few people who came with him. It's just that those people have no feelings for him, nor are they very familiar. He couldn't find Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing who were familiar. Not even Zhen Wuyang was found. Only Dongsheng, Wanyan, and the backbone Luo and Guangying were found. Tongtian Buddha is reluctant to see him, and is still concentrating on completing his ultimate calamity. I don't want to break my mind. For these people, he also gave some help. If the weakest is the Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe. After all, with the help of the Realm King, although they encountered many disasters, they also received a lot of goods. In this way, the original 10 people, except Fan Tianfeng, were more unlucky. Can only say, too anxious. Fall early. The rest of the people are doing well. Compared with Jian Wushuang, each is not bad. Jian Wushuang, who was still struggling in Wanliu Shunmu, knew that the original 10 people, except for Fan Tianfeng, who was envied at the beginning, had fallen, and the rest of them were similar to him, or even better than him. The heart must be broken. It is true that he has suffered too much. Click. Wu's clenched his fist. Brother Wushuang, you will be surprised when we meet again. Before leaving Qi Temple, Jian Wushuang was the strongest. Then there is Fan Tianfeng. He is in the middle on the left. It's different now. Whether it is knowledge or realm, he is at the forefront. In addition to not seeing Jian Wushuang, it is Hui Qing. He also asked the Realm King, where is Hui Qing? It's a pity that the Realm King didn't tell him, and didn't let him look for it. When it's time to see, it's bound to be seen. The time has not come. Ancient moon time and space. Inside the ancient moon ruins in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. I also felt the changes from Wanliu Nei. At the core of the ruins, under the shadow of the crescent moon spring, a man and a woman sat cross-legged. When I felt the divine breath from Wanliu, the closed eyes slowly opened to the Qingling woman who was sitting, and there was a trace of tears in her eyes. Is this life? She was a little unwilling. The of life appeared. Her plan also failed. With the god of life, the life of the northern time and space will have the imprint of life. Those lives that once fell are really fallen. She can no longer rescue the young figure in her heart from the long river of time. For that shadow. I don't know how much I paid. A flower on the other side amazed the original northern time and space. In the end it ended up like this. Look at yourself emerging from the spring. Tears rolled down his cheeks. She is the goddess who opened up the ancient moon time and space. A celestial being who tries to create a second starry sky. Eventually fell. The rest of the source is here. I want to live a second life. But with the opening of Wanliu Shunmu, the last hope was lost. The man opposite the goddess is no one else. Shaved head, jade face, thick eyebrows, a pair of bright eyes, extremely tough. Huiqing. Heaven returns to one. Today's Huiqing is not like a Buddha, more like a pure cultivator. When he saw the haggard-faced goddess, he sighed in his heart, not knowing how to comfort him. Over the years, he has been helping the other party to regain his original heart. Now Wan Liu's plan is broken. Everything turned into smoke. It's time to get out of here too. Master. The goddess stood up and bowed deeply to Huiqing, but when she got up again, her face had changed to Jiang Shong. If one day, you can control the way of heaven, when you see him, help me hand this thing over to me. She held the spring water in both hands, and a flower on the other side was in full bloom. A flower withers, a flower blooms. Huiqing was a little moved, and wanted to reach out to pick it up, but couldn't bear it. After taking this flower, the goddess disappeared, leaving only Jiang Shong. A Jiang Shong who has lost the memory of his past life. But the other party's mind was very determined. There is no way to recover. He could only reach out and take the bright flower. I watched helplessly as the figure of the goddess disappeared into time and space. Wanliu divine realm has not yet opened. The ancient moon ruins began to crumble at this moment. That is true silence. A complete ruin instantly turned into fly ash. The crescent moon spring, the continuous mountains, and the countless secret realms of the cave have all turned into a fleeting sight. These things should have disappeared. It is only because of the obsession of the goddess that it lasts forever. At the moment when the goddess disappeared, they were all buried with them. Huiqing looked at the other side flower in his hand, and then looked up into the distance. In the endless dust, only he and this flower are spotless. I'll do it. Huiqing put away the other shore flowers, and his body burst into light. One step at a time. All things in one breath. In just an instant, from the emperor to the lord of the universe. Over the years, his realm has long been reached. Because of the goddess, he suppressed it. Helping the other party to restore Taoism is also his practice. The goddess failed. He didn't lose. Road. Always there. At the moment of mastering the universe, the 7 colors of the sky will fall together. Over 7 calamities at a time. Even more than Jian Wushuang. Like Wu Zuo, he also entered the 7 tribulations realm. The disappearance of the ancient moon ruins did not cause much movement. The monks in the formation thought it was strange, but the news about the 8 tribulations was very extensive. It has long been known that the ancient moon ruins are short-lived. Not worth entering at all. The treasures that drifted out from the ancient moon ruins also dissipated one by one. Wanliu Shunmu, on the immortal temple. Jian Wushuang discovered that his 9 tribulations tower had dissipated. For some unknown reason, he thought it was because of Weiss. While Danbao was walking down the stairs of becoming a god, he separated a strand of his origin, entered his own universe, and looked for Wes. After entering the huge manor, he found a coast where Weiss often rested. Lord Weiss, why did the Tower of 9 Tribulations suddenly dissipate? It was a rare treasure, and he still felt a little distressed when it disappeared like this. After Weiss heard it, he said indifferently, thanks, if the Tower of 9 Tribulations does not disappear, you must disappear. What do you mean? Jian Wushuang couldn't understand. He found a place to sit down, looked at Wes with doubts, and hoped that the other party could explain. Now he is not afraid of anything. Dan Bao is about to become a god. In the future, in the northern time and space, it will not be walking sideways. Who dares to let him disappear? Weiss seemed to see what he was thinking, and the corners of his mouth rose, but he couldn't help laughing. Jian Wushuang, you have a lot of enemies. I'm afraid you've almost forgotten that goddess. Heavenly girl. Jian Wushuang's brain buzzed, and he understood in an instant. The 9 Tribulations pagoda was left behind from the ancient moon ruins. The ancient moon ruins are where the goddess fell. The disappearance of the 9 Tribulations pagoda is related to the ancient moon ruins. Thinking of this, he understood. His eyes moved, and he said in surprise, isn't it possible that goddess has regained her strength and seeks revenge from me? Chapter 5963. Tian Enyu and Jiang Shong are almost the same person. He has a blood feud with Jiang Shong. The other party will never forgive him. That is a 9 tribulation realm powerful man. It is also the only super powerhouse who has truly reached the 9 tribulations realm in the 9 worlds. It even reached the peak of the 9 tribulations realm, trying to create the existence of the second starry sky. If this restores his strength and seeks revenge on him, then he will be finished. Not to mention Dan Bao, even if the realm king came, he would not be able to keep him. Forget it. Seeing his face turned pale with fright, Weiss smiled. I won't tease you, which goddess just dissipated her last source and has completely disappeared. When Jian Wushuang heard the news, he instantly turned from sadness to joy. So, Jiang Shong is gone? She's still here, and it's within the rules. She seeks revenge for you, I won't care. Weiss sat up and threw Beerus in his arms to the side, then said, Jiu Yutian, this is a cultivator who has violated the supreme rule, so it's better to dissipate it, lest I shoot her again. The goddess' attempt to create the second starry sky is to blaspheme the supreme rule must die. If she can leave a trace of the origin, it is also Weiss pity her. Then you can run away and make trouble. Although he knew that the other party had plans, Kevis knew that it was impossible to succeed. Because he has already seen through the future. So I found Jian Wushuang. First, when he came from the starry sky, he still had the task of finding a direct disciple. The original candidate was Jian Wushuang. Later, because of some things and some people, I changed my mind. Changed to the first life in Jian Wushuang universe. Jian Wushuang also heard the key point and said in surprise, could it be that you killed the goddess at the beginning? That's right. Weiss turned his head slowly, raised his head slightly, and a murderous aura leaked out. That breath is enough to shock all the practitioners today. Just a breath of air. It made Jian Wushuang unable to breathe. What the goddess did back then was too much, so she had to die. This is my duty. Jian Wushuang took a half step back, then he thought of the starry sky in his original universe. You think too much. Weiss dispelled his concerns and explained, your source starry sky was cultivated by you, not imitated, so it's fine, but you have to practice hard, don't let me down on you expect. The source that he cultivated, the starry sky appeared. Even Weiss saw it for the first time. As for the power of the stars, this power is nothing special. The most optimistic about Jian Wushuang is the original universe, and Jian Wushuang's starry sky catalogue. Able to cultivate the origin universe of the starry sky. The most important thing is because of the star catalogue. The eruption of eternal change, although it is also amazing. However, there are still many strong people who can create this kind of special skills. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang is the only one in the starry sky origin universe. At least that's what Weiss saw. As for whether there is such a concealment, it is impossible to know. The reason is the only two. It is because the starry sky where they are located has long been created. Naturally, there is a person who can create the starry sky. In Weiss, Jian Wushuang stayed for a long time. Surprisingly, Weiss said a lot. Jian Wushuang also listened carefully. Most of it is still about the practice of the source. It also gave him a lot of ideas for the next fusion of the origin of the pieces. That is his future evolution of his own tribulation simulation. Naturally dare not neglect. It's like one more chance. Dan Bao continues to grow on the ladder of becoming a god. Jian Wushuang is also practicing in the Temple of Immortality. To comprehend the ladder of becoming a god, you only need a clone. There are also clones perfecting the super eternity change, and even preparing for the 7th tribulation. The deity appeared on the Tiantian chessboard. In front of the chess pieces of the 3 major gods, he can already feel the mystery. Reincarnation has been created. Time is not far away. Time and space reincarnation is his ultimate goal. He didn't go very far in time. The space is already complete. It's still a lot worse. Jian Wushuang shook his head, denying the idea just now. Once again, I fell into contemplation and continued to calculate. There are only two chances. Once it was simulated with chess pieces, the second time it was about using his life. Time and space reincarnation. It seems a little far away. But he is the master of the universe of the six tribulations realm. Once the road to resurrection is opened up, at that time, we will head towards the nine tribulations realm. Almost to the nine tribulations realm, you can cultivate time to consummation, and even the eight tribulations realm can do it. It's just that the eight tribulations realm is still a little short of trying to create time and space. The goddess who had cultivated time and space to consummation wanted to go to the complex starry sky, but failed in the end. Space-time contains time and space. There is so much in the sky. Still taking too many steps. Too risky. With the lessons learned, Jian Wushuang is reluctant to take risks. Just want to be steady. The realm of reincarnation, which is not rigid, can be condensed, which is normal. But time and space, he still needs time. At present, only the original chess pieces needed by the space can be extracted and then cultivated. Time goes by. On the one hand, he realized the ladder of becoming a god, which made his life force jump. Although he can't become the of life, he has the innate power of life and can continue to improve, even if he can't reach the level of Danbao, but he is not a major in life, just assisting is enough. So there is no need to pursue the ultimate. Just enough. On the side of the peak secret method, the ancient change has reached the peak level. The distance is complete, but a little less. He is not in a hurry. Anyway, after going out, there is no threat, and there is no battle. As for the backhand left by the metal light brain, he didn't care too much. The world is so big. It's impossible to find him right away. As long as you are always prepared, there is nothing to be afraid of. He now has a lot of trump cards. Don't look at this trip to Wanliu Shenmu, he didn't do much. But no one dares to underestimate the strength. At the beginning, he was angry and directly confronted Kai Jiuxiao, the Lord of the Universe at the peak of the six tribulations realm. 1.5 million basic divine power. Putting on the robbery armor, it can explode to 2 million. With the super eternal transformation, his divine power can reach 5 million. There is also the blessing of the universe dojo. Divine power at least more than 6 million. It is already the top level of the 8 tribulations realm. This is not even counting his star catalogue. That is the strongest combat power. The sword of reincarnation can threaten the peak of the 8 tribulations. Just 2 metal puppets, what's there to be afraid of? Jian Wushuang disagreed and continued his practice. The other avatar is paying attention to the ladder of becoming aware Danbao is located. Witness the birth of a god. This is the real god. Danbao, bathed in the power of life, holds a scepter and climbs the peak bravely. Unhindered all the way. The so-called catastrophe may be the battles that came before this ladder of godhood. End of this chapter. Chapter 5964. After stepping on the ladder of becoming a god, Danbao is the of life. There are no surprises. All the way to the top. It only took a few years to cultivate the power of life to consummation. The halo of God also descended at this moment. Wanliu divine region, another change broke out. The sky above the realm of the gods. A projection descended, with relief on his face. The person who came was the realm king. The of life finally appeared under his command. Practitioners within the direct jurisdiction will also grow again. To have life is to have hope. Congratulations, Lord Realm King. The moment the Realm King appeared, the 3 ancient beings who were hidden in the void also walked out. When the Realm King saw these 3 people, he was extremely polite. You too, with the appearance of the God of Life, the 9 tribulations realm, for you, is at your fingertip. It's still up to Lord Realm King, the appearance of the of life. These 3 are the ones who benefit the most. They have already touched the 9 tribulations realm, but they still have to suppress their own realm. Don't dare to go to the robbery. Because the life level of the northern time and space is low, once the tribulation is successful, even if it becomes the realm of 9 tribulations, it will not survive for a day. Even a quarter of an hour is difficult. That goddess from the beginning was a lesson. They had no choice but to elevate the divine body to the Nine Tribulations realm first, and the source universe had been suppressed. Waiting for the appearance of the of life. This is still the cultivator Tianjiao, who couldn't bear to be directly under the jurisdiction of the real king. They all jumped into the fire pit one after another and secretly taught their secret methods to these three people. Of course, that's not a big mistake either. Even if Weiss saw it, he opened one eye and closed the other. Nothing was pursued. Got pointers. Speaking of which, these three ancient existences are still disciples of the Realm King. They also took the initiative to go to apprenticeships, but they were all rejected by the king. After all, he is a Realm King, the supreme in charge of the northern time and space. If you can worship the Realm King as your teacher, wouldn't you just walk sideways? Too bad they don't have that fortune. It's really lively. Behind the Realm King, another person suddenly appeared. Wearing a yellow robe and a high crown. A character face, yellow skin, and thick eyebrows. It was Wu Zuo who came with the real king. The three ancient existences were still sighing just now, and they were all startled when they saw Wu Zuo appear, and their brows jumped and they wanted to get angry. He was so rude in front of the Realm King. What a system this is. Before the three of them got angry, the Realm King reached out and pressed his hand, and said indifferently, "Introduction, this is my disciple, Wu Zuo." Ah! The three ancient existences couldn't believe their ears, and said in surprise, "You old man, when did you accept the masters? It just happened not long ago, you guys are here to get acquainted, I have to enter the Wanliu Shunmu." The Realm King waved his hand and stepped into the Wanliu Shunmu. Only Wu Zuo and the three ancient existences were left. I don't know the name of a Taoist friend. The three top powerhouses who walked sideways in the 9 worlds not only showed envy at Wu Zuo, but also meant to curry favor. After all, he is a disciple of the Realm King. Must be pulled together. Inside Wanliu Shunmu. More lively than the outside world. Everyone stood on the edge of the immortal temple, watching Dan Bao. Also talking in private. This life is worth it. An expert in the 7 Tribulations realm couldn't help sighing. Many surviving experts from the 7 Tribulations realm held their heads high. Along the way, I saw a lot of super strong. Almost numb. It was at this moment that when he saw that Dan Bao became the god of life, he revealed a shocked expression. The Lord of Hungmu, who did not forget to pat the horse, pretended to be mysterious. Actually, I knew early on that Dan Bao could become the of life. I doubted my eyes, but I never doubted Dan Bao's ability. When he said this, everyone laughed. Blue looked at Dan Bao, and there was only gratification in his eyes. "Elder, seeing what I have seen, you can rest in peace." The appearance of Dan Bao bathed in life. Jian Wushuang just took a few glances before putting away his thoughts. Although Dan Bao has become the of life, he still has a stone in his heart, and he keeps looking at which great monk with the naked eye. The Taoist protector known as Dan Bao. The other party has always kept secrets. At the moment when Dan Bao became a god, the greed in the eyes of the great monk had reached its peak. Greed for the of life. Jian Wushuang immediately thought of a terrifying existence. Destroy life. It's not that he is sensitive, he is really pervasive. Even time and space can travel to calculate him. If he became the of life, he would immediately think about whether he was calculated by the destruction of life. No way, the other party caused a great shadow in his heart. If he does not destroy life, he will not be able to sleep peacefully. That is, now, he has become the master of the universe. Just got some confidence. Now that there are so many strong people, he is even more confident. So I dare to face the big monk. I want to see if the other party is dead. Dan Bao was crowned a god. The virtual shadow of the Realm King has come again. At the end of the ladder of becoming gods, the Realm King came, holding a heavy book in his hand. Dan Bao. The real king had a halo on his head, looking at Dan Bao, said kindly, "From this moment on, you are the of life in the northern time and space, and you are in charge of all life, including plants and trees." The books in his hand were automatically flipped through. After staying on a certain page, Dan Bao's name appeared on the top. God of life, Dan Bao. Above him, there is a god. God of death, name unknown. Life and death. Just like the chicken and the egg. Everyone is asking which comes first. Now the answer appears. First there is death, then there is new life. If only life did not die. Well, this place is absolutely hell. Only the undead in are immortal. Because they will be punished forever. A world without death is more terrifying than a world of life. So there must be death before life. Dan Bao was crowned successfully. The 9 long rivers of time and space in the northern time and space shook together. Together with dozens of direct currents in the middle reaches, they reached the end of the long river of time and space. Dan Bao changed his body, wearing a green robe, and his skin was green. The temperament of the whole person has undergone earth-shaking changes again. From once ignorant to perseverance. Become wiser now. There is a color in his eyes. Little God, see Lord Realm King. Dan Bao bowed slightly and bowed to Realm King. The Realm King smiled happily. No gifts, no gifts, we will be our own in the future. This is your ring, and bid farewell to your friends. There are more important things waiting for you. Yeah. Dan Bao also understood. The seat of God is no child's play. The moment Dan Bao put on the ring, the ladder of becoming began to crumble. The origin of Wanliu has also washed away the erosion of metal life. Chapter 5965. Back to the top. Swish. In a flash, Dan Bao arrived at the Temple of Immortality. When looking at the crowd, his eyes flickered, and the corners of his mouth were drawn. A few people who are close to each other gather in a group and congratulate together. The story of the trip to Wanliu was not easy. He also asked about Dan Bao's changes after he became a god. Jian Wushuang was most curious, so he asked, Dan Bao, how is your current combat power? Do you have the power of the 9 tribulations realm? He has always been curious about the power of God. Weiss' method shocked him. On the other hand, the Realm King was a little modest, and said that he was like a waste. He looks at Dan Bao's breath now, but it is extremely unusual. There is a strong coercion. No matter what, you must have the combat power of the 9 tribulations realm. Unexpectedly, Dan Bao shook his head. The benefactor has lifted me up, I am only the of life, and the realm in charge of life and life has reached perfection. As for the combat power, I am afraid it is not as good as you. Why are you still going backwards? Shenmu Wang was a little surprised. When Dan Bao mastered the Immortal Temple, his personal combat power was no longer weak in the 8 tribulations realm. Why is it not as good as them now? There is also Wu Li from the 6 tribulations realm. Dan Bao then explained in a slow manner, the term of combat power is originally spoken by practitioners, and has nothing to do with God. Whether I am or the Realm King, in fact, I have no combat power, only duties. This time everyone understood it completely. It also dispelled previous speculation. Only Jian Wushuang still doesn't believe it is that simple. I'm afraid it's still not the king of the realm. Weiss' combat power is very powerful. The goddess can be killed by him. That is the 9 tribulations realm, and it is a copy of the 9 tribulations realm of the starry sky. It is no exaggeration to be the number 1 powerhouse in the northern time and space. Weiss said it was wiped out. There is still a gap between God and God. For example, the Realm King and Dan Bao. One is the manager of North time and space. One is the god of life in northern time and space. The difference is immediately apparent. Curious after chatting, the king of Shenmu and the lord of Hengmu began to talk about their credits intentionally or unintentionally. For example, against Kai Jiuxiao. Protect Dan Bao. A life and death battle. It even emphasized the original treasure several times. Even a fool can hear it. This is to make Dan Bao fulfill his promise. And the Realm King. They have to fulfill the benefits they set themselves. There are many benefits in the beginning. Can't grow knowledge, don't grow fat. How could Dan Bao not understand that he was so smart, and immediately sent a voice transmission to the Realm King? Whoa! The Realm King projection came in person and patted his head. Look at my memory, I almost forgot about this. When the king of Shenmu and the lord of Hengmu saw that the Realm King came directly, they quickly waved their hands. Don't worry about such a small matter. Aren't you in a hurry? The king narrowed his eyes, staring at the crowd. Everyone watching was stunned, but they were not polite, and they all held their faces, waiting for the king to fulfill his promise. Okay, what is yours after all. He took out countless treasures and distributed them to everyone in turn. Most of them are treasures needed by the seven tribulations realm. They are all treasures in the time of calamity, hard to find outside. Each piece is enough to cause a shock. The most valuable ones are those treasures that are needed by the eight tribulations realm. The Lord of Hungmu and the King of Shunmu both have hot eyes. After accepting the treasure, his complexion changed significantly. After knowing that combat power has nothing to do with divine position. They don't have much fantasies about the position of God. Still, the pursuit of combat power comes refreshingly. Jian Wushuang was originally not interested in that kind of thing, but there were not too many treasures. Accepted the treasure that the king took out. Among them are not only the treasures of his seventh calamity, but also some treasures of the origin of divine power. Mixed up a lot. These treasures are nothing to the realm king. But to them, it was heaven. After the realm king is divided, Danbao also stood up, rubbed the ring, and said, I still keep the position that I promised you at the beginning. I can peel off the three messengers of life in the immortal temple and give them to you. This Shenmu king and Hungmu lord hesitated. The big monk has always been on the edge, not paying attention to those treasures. I saw that Danbao wanted to seal the position of messenger. But his brows twitched, and the breath in his eyes couldn't help tilting out. Because the realm king was here, Jian Wushuang put down his guard. The Shunmu king coughed dryly, and took the lead in expressing his position. Lord Danbao, what is the benefit of the position of the messenger of life? In their opinion, these messengers of life are no different from puppets. Those who are used to freedom don't seem to have any constraints. At the beginning, for the position of the messenger, he also valued the status and the improvement of combat power. Get along now. It doesn't really matter if you don't feel like being the messenger of life. It is better to attack the 9 tribulations realm. So I was a little hesitant and wanted to see the price. The messenger of life can use a source of life, and it is actually very helpful to you. Don't be under pressure. After becoming the messenger of life, there is no restraint. Danbao is grateful to those who have helped him. So the boundaries are also relaxed. Anyway, he is of life, and will definitely study the secret method of lifeline in the future. No need to fight. Most of the time, it is still closed. Therefore, there is no requirement for the opponent. When the king of Shunmu and the lord of Hungmu heard this, they immediately agreed. With the source of life, it is almost the same as Jian Wushuang. You can keep recovering your vitality. When fighting, it is almost immortal. This is a huge benefit. The two did not hesitate. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Danbao crowned the two. Become the messenger of life, but also obtained a set of life armor of the 9 tribulations level for nothing. Can increase your own divine power. Similar to Jian Wushuang's robbery armor. However, the power is a little worse. His robbery armor, when his basic divine power is 1.5 million, can increase the divine power by 500,000. That is 1/3. The armor of life obtained by the king of Shunmu and the lord of Hungmu, the increase in divine power is only about 1/5. For example, the original basic power of 10 million, with the armor of life, can increase to 12 million. Even so, they were satisfied. The trip to Wanliu Shunmu. No loss. Blood earned. All are happy. One all. That is, when they are happy, they ignore a person. Originally a very high-profile monk. After the coronation, Danbao thought of the great monk and turned to look for him. After seeing the great monk, he was about to speak, but was stopped by the king. Guardian. The realm king was surprised, and said in surprise, the protector I identified. He thought it was the great monk who voluntarily became Danbao's Taoist protector. Now that he heard that it was the guardian he had appointed, he was surprised. End of this chapter. Chapter 5966. There is no such link in his plan. Everyone was dumbfounded. Jian Wushuang was the first to react, and rushed directly in front of Danbao. His breath burst out instantly, pointed out, and shouted angrily, "Old monk, I have already seen that you have a problem, and you haven't shown up yet." The sword energy at the fingertips contains the sword of reincarnation. Even if the great monk is at the peak of the 8 tribulations realm, he would not dare to be careless. He stepped back quickly, his eyes full of surprise. "Jian Wushuang, what are you doing?" The rest of the people didn't understand why Jian Wushuang suddenly shot. "Miesheng, you can hide from others, but you can't hide from me." Jian Wushuang drew his sword directly. The power of death that seems to exist. He knows best. It's just that he didn't understand why the Realm King didn't find the other party. A Realm King with so many gods. The one who should know best about life and death. But the real king at this time was also shocked. The great monk confronts Jian Wushuang. People believe in Jian Wushuang even more. Because the big monk is from Wanliu universe. It came out of the middle. Although Jian Wushuang also ran to the ancient moon time and space halfway, he was at least Wu Li's nephew in terms of seniority. It's just that Wu Li can't tell the difference now. One is his mysterious father, and the other is a fake nephew. Lord Realm King, if you don't believe it, you can try it. He has the power of death in his body, and he is probably from the future, not a contemporary strong man. Jian Wushuang explained while confronting Miesheng. After the Realm King heard the word annihilation, his expression obviously changed, and he seemed to think of something. Destroy life. He suddenly thought of the leaf boat in the starry sky, and said in surprise, "God of death in the starry sky, so you haven't left." The great monk knew that he couldn't bear it anymore, and he had already been revealed by the king of the realm, which was more convincing than Jian Wushuang. Then he sneered, and stopped pretending. "It was discovered by you guys. I'm really surprised. How can a cosmos master of the 6 tribulations realm recognize this seat?" As soon as the voice fell, the big monk tore his skin. There must have been rounded sharp corners, followed by a plume of black smoke. Miesheng's familiar appearance appeared. He didn't take the Realm King in his eyes at all, stared at Jian Wushuang and said, "Mortal, answer me." "You don't know me?" Jian Wushuang exclaimed in surprise, and then thought that the high probability of this annihilation is not in the same time and space as the annihilation of the original universe. "Should this seat know you?" Miesheng felt a little amused. He was questioned by a master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. He is the of death in the starry sky. The high status is much higher than that of a realm king who is attached to the time and space. Starry sky. That is the land of the gods. It is also a gathering place for the peak powerhouses. It is also the end of the world. All things return to one, in the starry sky. As the of death in the starry sky. Destruction is naturally arrogant. He didn't even care about the king of the realm. What's more, the realm king of the northern time and space has long since fallen. Fighting power is like air. No one can stop him. The of life was born. It was also when he forged his reincarnation. As are in the starry sky, he has existed for endless years. Not only created countless death secrets. He has long talked about his combat power, which has risen to an unimaginable level. It's just that the northern time and space can't carry him. Even so, the moment his breath leaked out, his divine power instantly peaked. It has reached the strongest point in the 9 time and space. The temple of immortality is shaking. The power of this breath surpasses everyone else. Jian Wushuang was also extremely surprised. The divine power to destroy life has reached an astronomical figure. Make them desperate. Jian Wushuang was about to collapse. Originally thought that death was the same, but now it seems that he underestimated it. The huge divine power is beyond their cognition. It is definitely the 9 tribulations realm, and even surpasses the 9 tribulations realm. There is no way to resist. Miesheng raised his hand slightly, and said that Wanliu Shenmu was torn apart. A sky leaked out. The scene in the sky is the Wanliu divine realm. Countless powerhouses in the outside world also discovered death. They don't know what happened yet. Seeing that the Wanliu Shenmu was destroyed, the realm king couldn't sit still. "I don't care what you ask, this is the northern time and space, even if you come from the starry sky, You must understand that with the constraints of the supreme rules, you are not afraid of death and destruction. Ha ha. Miesheng raised his head and laughed, raised his hand and shattered the immortal temple. Are you threatening me? The shattered temple of immortality began to gather and recover again. Dan Bao stared at Miesheng with despair in his eyes. Are you here for me? He has now become the of life, and can see the power of death in Miesheng. Has a terrifying magic power that will devour him. No, I'm here for life. Not only you, but also the gods of life in the other 3 dimensions will be swallowed up by me, creating a great reincarnation. You should be proud to be one with me. The words of death are still as arrogant as ever. Just like the annihilation of the primordial universe. Jian Wushuang swallowed his saliva and kept calling for help in his heart. The current annihilation comes from the future, or from the past. Anyway, it's different from the annihilation of the primordial universe. At the beginning, Weiss said that if Dusheng really wants to travel through time and space, he will personally remove Dusheng. Apart from Weiss, Jian Wushuang couldn't think of anyone who could help them. The terrifying divine power of annihilation is too powerful. No one can stop it. When he was anxious, a voice sounded in his mind. Don't worry, listen to his plan. Weiss' voice transmission made Jian Wushuang calm down a little. It was only then that he realized that the Real King had already started winking at him, and the meaning could not be more obvious, that is, to ask him to ask Weiss for help. It's just that the real king didn't know that Weiss had promised Jian Wushuang that he would take action against the powerhouses who traveled through the future. Only Jian Wushuang knows about the matter of destroying life and traveling to the future. Not even the Realm King knows. If he hadn't told Weiss didn't even know that the of death in the starry sky actually traveled through time and space, trying to devour the voices of life in the 4 major time and space. Weiss in the source starry sky also stood up at this time. The first time, contact the strong in the starry sky. In the distant and mysterious starry sky, the sky is full of gods. Destruction is in it. I don't know anything about the outside world. Those who attempt to devour life are all traveling through the future in different time periods. The deity has always been in the starry sky. Or rather, it was now. The real annihilation is in the future. It's really troublesome. Weiss rubbed his temples. He was about to faint. But since he touched it, it must be erased. Time travel is not allowed. Once discovered, it will be erased along with the deity. This is the Iron Law. Dusheng would not have thought that he would be so unlucky. Shuttle to the past, want to devour those gods of life, but met Weiss. Sorry for the late update, end of this chapter. Chapter 5967. Miesheng, who was kept in the dark, disapproved at this time, staring at Danbao. A smile leaked from the corner of his mouth. Boy, you should be lucky. Saying that, he stretched out his paws to Danbao. Want to swallow Danbao's life in one fell swoop. Let's do it. Jian Wushuang reminded, now killing them is like watching ants, and they will say so much nonsense. Just like when he went to the blood sacrifice to the common people, where would he tell the other party what he wanted to do? Saying it is a waste of time. Ding. A crisp voice sounded in time and space. Time and space freeze instantly. But people don't. People can still move. Death is the same. It's just that space and time are frozen. Then everyone saw a figure that appeared above the sky. Holding a scepter, with a head full of white hair and a crown, it is Wes. Everyone is not unfamiliar. I've seen Weiss before. Just don't know the identity of the other party. Did not expect to appear again this time. This is the life-saving straw for Jian Wushuang and Jie Wang. You're finished. The Realm King came out immediately, pointed at Miesheng and cursed. A mere little god, he didn't kneel down when he saw Lord Xingling. Jian Wushuang was a little speechless when he saw this wave of dogs fighting against people. How is it a Realm King? No face at all. No wonder he fell early, and now there are incarnations left, but it does not prevent the Realm King from managing the northern time and space. Dead is the same as not dead. Protoss. Before Miesheng found Wes, he was startled by the king's words, and then turned to look at the sky. He was completely stunned. No matter where the is, there is a hierarchy. For example, The highest divine position in the northern time and space is the Realm King. Then there is the of reincarnation. Life and death. It just hasn't appeared yet. Death is the of death in the starry sky, and above it is the of reincarnation. But which of reincarnation has fallen? That's why he dared to plan the position of samsara. Not only is he planning, but the of life in the starry sky is also planning. Just not as brave as him. Dare to pay attention to the 4 dimensions of time and space. The of life who tried to devour the 4 major time and space, merged his own death, and became the of reincarnation. Go one step further. The god of reincarnation is powerful, but there is a more powerful existence than the god of reincarnation, such as time and space reincarnation, above the time and space cycle. And, as for star spirit, that is a noble being above God. It is the star spirit beside the creator of the starry sky. With just one glance, the eyes of the death almost burst. Weiss. Lord Weiss, why are you here? Hoo. Weiss covered his mouth and chuckled. Of course it's to erase you. Destruction kept retreating, and his face revealed true despair, even more desperate than his own power of death. He never counted that he would meet a star spirit. That is an existence that is more powerful than the divine position. Not to mention resistance, he didn't even have the courage to stand in front of the opponent. Sir. Mieshing knelt down directly. The whole person was decadent, and without a little bit of high spirits, he knelt on the ground and begged devoutly, Lord Weiss, please kill me. Everyone watching this scene was stunned. I originally thought that destiny should struggle. But like a dead dog, he knelt down and begged Wes to kill himself. Those present, or those outsiders who do not know what to do, are puzzled. Only one person from the future knows the reason. Although Jian Wushuang knew about Wei's strength, he didn't expect that Miesheng would take the initiative to ask for death, so he sent a voice transmission to Wes, asking him to be careful. If these words are known to the Realm King, I am afraid they will laugh out loud. It was really Jian Wushuang who was afraid of death from the bottom of his heart, and thought that the other party was taking the initiative to show weakness, and there was a backhand. After hearing the sound transmission, Weiss turned to look at Jian Wushuang and said, how about I give you this opportunity? No need. Jian Wushuang shook his head frantically. Then don't regret it. After Weiss finished speaking, the scepter moved, directly erasing all the space and time where the annihilation was. At the moment of extinction and disappearance, the of death in the starry sky also began to shatter. There are also the annihilation of different timespaces in the other 3 major timespaces, and they are also shattering. Only the annihilation of the primordial universe remains. The Realm King was the first to discover it, so he couldn't help looking at Jian Wushuang and sighed. Jian Wushuang, you just missed the best chance. What chance? Jian Wushuang was still immersed in the moment when Weiss shot, and some couldn't understand the king's words. Next, the king said something about the structure of the deity. Jian Wushuang suddenly realized. Just now Weiss asked him to take a shot, and he could also kill the death. And it will kill the primordial universe together with cause and effect. There is no need for him to take the cannon fodder Qi temple with the people all the way. So it is. Jian Wushuang was not lost. In his consciousness, he had long regarded Miesheng as an opponent. It is also good to keep the annihilation in the primordial universe. It's a chance for him. Kill the opponent's last clone with your own hands. Lord Realm King, what is the strength of the annihilation in the original universe? Is it as strong as the annihilation just now? Jian Wushuang was still a little worried. If only as strong as before. Then he can't go back right away. Just keep practicing. When the Realm King heard his words, he laughed. No, if anyone is so powerful, I'm afraid you would have fallen long ago, which one is only one of many clones, and his strength is just average. General. Jian Wushuang did not dare to be careless, and asked, how much is the general? In the distance, Weiss floated slowly, Ukanshu. The king of Com hurriedly stopped and said, the secret must not be revealed. Jian Wushuang frowned and looked at Wes. I'm afraid they did it on purpose. He is not asking, as long as he is not as strong as before, it is almost enough for him to go further and become the 7 tribulations realm. Even with people now, it is not impossible to go back. For some things, You don't have to wait for everything to be ready. Still have to put some pressure on yourself. Otherwise, it would be boring to overwhelm the opponent. It is precisely because of this that his opponents will continue to grow under his eyes every time, and even surpass him. If you were ruthless, how could there be so many things now? The last Dharma body is left after death. The goddess also has a Dharma body left. Inside the temple of destruction of the primitive universe. Dusheng also seemed to feel a strong unease. Then the unease disappeared. He looked through the Chishan temple with his eyes, but couldn't find the reason. The original time and space now. The power of Qi temple has shrunk into a ball. 1,000,000 epochs have passed. The original time and space now. Refurbished long ago. Catastrophe can be seen everywhere. Those acquaintances that Jian Wushuang once had also become the masters of the universe one by one. Compared to the ancient moon spacetime, the original spacetime is still a little immature. Looting is rare. It is still mostly the Lord of the Universe. Chapter 5968. It's just that most of the Lords of the Universe are the powerhouses of the Temple of Destruction. The territory occupied by Chishan Temple is only 10% of the original time and space, and only 20% of the strong ones. If it weren't for the fact that the true spirit controls several spacetime treasures, that is, the treasures of the universe in the 9 Tribulations realm, they would have been breached by the Temple of Destruction. Miesheng is staring at Chishan Temple. The true spirit in the Qi Temple is staring at the distant river of time and space. Jian Wushuang, hurry up. Zhenling prayed in his heart, because he could no longer stop it. A storm is still gathering. Next time, the broken ship of Chishan Temple might sink. Standing on the peak of the Tomb God Mountain, Zhenling has a sad look in his eyes. At this moment, there were footsteps behind him, and after a short pause, the voice sounded, "Master Zhenling, Wanxing has fallen." A piece of bad news came. Zhenling closed his eyes slightly. The best Jian Wushuang and others left. Wn Xing and others have become the most promising successors in the Qi Temple. Zhenling's vision is not bad. Later, Wn Xing became the robbery realm, and it only took 100,000 epochs to become the master of the 5 robbery realm universe. Later, it reached the peak of the 5 tribulations realm. Become a powerful force in the Qi Temple. Now, it has fallen. Standing on the Tomb God Mountain, he didn't know how much bad news he heard. I see. Zhenling paused for a moment. He didn't have time to be sad now. He could only bury the fallen inheritors on the mountain of the Tomb God. If he won that day, he would go to worship. If it fails, let's live together forever. Ancient moon time and space. Above the Wanliu divine realm, the Temple of Immortality has left the universe inside the Shenmu. And Wanliu Shenmu was also taken away by Weiss, leaving a land irrigated with life. The Shenmu king immediately announced that this place is the sect of the Ancient Wood sect. Ready to recreate the Ancient Wood Pie. The former strongman of the Ancient Wood sect, the mutiny of the mutiny, the death of the dead. There are few left now. King Shenmu felt that the foundation was still there. At least in the treasure house of the sect, there are countless mortal treasures that can be cultivated. He doesn't know those treasures yet, and he has long since been sent away by his handpicked headmaster. Which headmaster is also in the Wanliu universe and will be destroyed along with baby Di. Speaking of Bobby, Jian Wushuang also thought of Kai Jiuxiao. It has been suppressed by Dan Bao in the Temple of Immortality. When he regained his consciousness, he was a giant clan powerhouse with 9 robbery realm combat power. The giant gods are known as the first group in the starry sky, and there are even true gods in the clan. The heritage is very deep. I don't know what will happen after regaining consciousness. But that's all for later. The many powerhouses who entered the Immortal Temple together have now bid farewell to Dan Bao and left the Immortal Temple one by one. Returned to the ancient moontime and space-like glory. Meet the envious look from outside. They will be the first beneficiaries when Dan Bao creates the peak secret method of resurrection. And before he left, he was given countless powers of life. Even if Dan Bao needs hundreds of millions of epochs, they can survive it. Many people left one after another. Jian Wushuang and Wu Li were not in a hurry. Gubei Weiss is also leaving. Lord Weiss, are you just leaving? Jian Wushuang couldn't accept it. There was a great master living in his body, and he had the confidence to leave suddenly. It is inevitable that some are unacceptable. Weiss smiled indifferently, holding the cat in the bag. There is still a chance to meet in the future. The 3 things I have to do here have been completed. There is no need to wait for you to reach the starry sky, or the continent of the gods. We should see you again. World God Continent. He was a little curious, just heard the name, he knew about the starry sky, but he didn't know what this World God Continent was for. Back then, the Realm King also promised them that he would send them to the Realm God Continent to cultivate. It's just not necessary now. They all went back to retreat with their treasures and waited for their resurrection. After the resurrection, rekindle the cultivation path, and then talk about the adventure. It's all too early now. But it was not too early for Jian Wushuang. So I am also very curious about what kind of existence the World God Continent is. The continent of the gods does not belong to your northern time and space, but it is a universe that connects the 4 major dimensions of time and space. It was created by an almighty person. If you have a chance, you must go, maybe you can meet me. Weiss replied calmly. Jian Wushuang nodded, yes. He only got the top half of Zizai Ji Gong. Although he can't practice it yet, when he can practice it in the future, he still has to look for the bottom half. At that time, we have to take the initiative to find Weiss. After the final farewell, Kai Wang and Jian Wushuang bid farewell to Weiss together. When the scepter moved, a tunnel of colorful streamers appeared. Weiss looked back and smiled, and disappeared in front of everyone. Then the space returned to calm. Xingling. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself, turned to look at the king and said, is Xingling also in the starry sky? The Realm King said silently, yes, and it is the most powerful god. There are 12 star spirits in the starry sky, and their status is very high. If you can have contact with Lord Weiss, you can work hard in the future. I am optimistic. 12 star spirits. It is the 12 top powerhouses in the starry sky. From the era of opening up the starry sky to the present. No one can shake it. It can be said to be invincible. I don't know how much stronger than the death. This made Jian Wushuang think of teacher Xian Yi. If you can give him a treasure like the Guantian chessboard, I am afraid it will not be weak. At least it is the existence of the king of the world. Even with high. It was just that when Wes was asked about teacher Xuani, the other party didn't know. It might be teacher Xuani, who didn't tell him his real name. On the other side, Weiss passes through the colorful tunnel. Directly entered the starry sky that ordinary people cannot constantly surpass. In the huge dome starry sky, there is a temple. After Weiss entered the starry sky, he teleported to this place. After throwing Beerus into his own hall, he went to the depths of the temple. After entering the temple, he stopped instantly, but walked into a side hall in the temple. There is also this person inside, who looks very similar to Weiss, and the other party also has a scepter in his hand. Facing this person, Weiss bowed respectfully, Grand Priest, I want to see Lord God King. Wait. The person in the temple who looks similar to Weiss is called the Great Priest and is the housekeeper in the temple. Even though he is a housekeeper, his power ranks in the top 3. He turned around and opened the door of the side hall, only to go in for a moment, and then return again. Reached out for Weiss to enter the door. When Weiss passed the Grand Priest, he bowed slightly to express his gratitude. Then entered the temple. Lord God King, the matter of the northern time and space. Weiss told everything he had seen, and finally added, I followed your wishes and chose Beerus, and Jian Wushuang is still in the northern time and space. A figure behind the bill in the hall, with his back turned to Wes, just gave a soft grace, it's nothing, you go down first. Chapter 59-69. He is the King of Gods. The creator of the starry sky. The most powerful man of all ages. Creator God. The pioneer of the supreme rule, the ancestor of all practitioners. Status, strength and ability, are the first person. This is the big guy. Just hearing the other party's voice, Weiss felt infinite pressure. Although he didn't even see his face, he bowed and stepped back, walked out of the hall, and let out a sigh of relief. After walking out of the hall, the great priest was no longer there. Because only Weiss came to visit the God King alone, this can all be calculated. After Weiss left, there was no need for anyone to stay here. Beerus, it's also a good choice, Weiss said to himself with a smile, and left the hall calmly. Ancient moon time and space. With the departure of Weiss, the Real King is also ready to leave with Danbao. Danbao invited him to go to the world god continent together. I have no choice but to have more important things, so I politely declined. Turning to look at the rest of the people. Only Bruce and Wu Li remained. Needless to say, Bruce was directly named a demigod powerhouse, or the position of the of war. In one step, he reached the combat power of the half-step 9 tribulations realm. The Realm King himself injected his Realm King power. Help Bruce stabilize the realm. Then there is Wu Li. Jen Wushuang let out a wicked smile, looked at Wu Li and said, "Brother Wu Li, your cheap old man has perished. Do you have any plans for the next step?" "Don't." After Wu Li heard Jen Wushuang's words, he quickly waved his hand. "I'm not familiar with that bald monk. Don't play this kind of joke on me, I can't bear it. Haha." He walked in front of Wu Li, patted the other party's shoulder, and said in a slightly serious tone, "Then you can go with Danbao. Guu Shikong has nothing to remember, and I will find you when I have a chance in the future. Drink wine." Wu Li also knew that Jen Wushuang had secrets, and now Jen Wushuang jokingly said that he was helping him by asking him to follow Danbao. Entering the ancient moon time and space is because Wu Li entered the Wanliu Shenmu. Now Wanliu Shenmu is gone. But because of the other party, he has grown a lot. A word is not very helpful. Danbao also understood what Jen Wushuang meant. For him, Wu Li was also a benefactor. Even if he took the initiative to invite Wu Li to enter the world god continent with him. Since the Lord God of Life has spoken, then I won't give face if I shirk it. Well, then go to the world god continent and have a look, and by the way, I will be a guard for Danbao. But when he finished speaking, the golden armored warrior and the original 3 life messengers all stood up. Wu Li quickly waved his hand and said, "Joke, joke." He wasn't going to take jobs with these guys. Everything was arranged, and it was time to part. Before leaving, the Realm King also gave Jen Wushuang a surprise. This surprise really surprised Jen Wushuang. Brother Wu Zhua. This time Jen Wushuang is really happy. Just moved to tears. Encountering old friends in a foreign land. And this old man is still fat. Seeing the other party from a distance, he felt an aura of the 7 tribulations realm. Brother Wushuang. Wu Zhua saw Jen Wushuang flying from below and took the initiative to meet him. The immortal temple has torn the void and left the ancient moon space-time. The super powerhouses from all sides also left the ancient moon time and space one after another. Waiting for the of life to create the method of resurrection. However, some people found Jen Wushuang before leaving. Want to buy some life force. Wu Zhua thought that these people were trying to threaten Jen Wushuang, jumping and scolding, and almost did it. Some of those scattered tribulations are not the powerhouses of the ancient moon time and space. Jen Wushuang actually didn't need to help these people. But he also has to prepare for the future tribulation. It simply sold a lot of life force. Harvested a large number of primordial stones. A full billion. Enough for him to transcend the 8th robbery. This made those strong men who did not come extremely envious. Life force is not for sale. Countless auctions have not encountered a trace. Jen Wushuang has an ocean of life. How can you not be shocked and surprised? Although having treasure. But no one dared to peep. Not only because of Wu Zhua's relationship, but also because of Jen Wushuang's strength. The Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe has such a huge life force. The strength is even greater. Busy with everything. Jen Wushuang declined the invitation of the Shenmu King. Want to recruit him to become the second in command of the ancient wood sect. But Jen Wushuang couldn't see it. Finally, it was given to the Lord of Hungmu. The two of them smelled like each other. Jian Wushuang and Wu Zuo didn't stay too long. This place is not the place to talk. Knowing that he sells the power of life, I am afraid that countless people will follow. He was exhausted. After collecting enough treasures, he pulled Wu Zuo and left Wanliu Divine Realm. Ready to go to the daughter country. The two of them were riding on the silver pyramid. Inside the pyramid captured by Jian Wushuang. It has long since been transformed by him. Now used as a flying treasure. However, some of the internal things can still be used, and it needs to be transformed by a puppet master. Originally found Lianxing, but the opponent's level is limited. It can still be seen in the ancient moon space-time. But looking at the entire northern time and space, there are still some gaps. I want to restore this metal treasure to its original state. At least have a metal light brain. For this kind of thing, either go to the southern time and space to find it, or go to the world god continent. Very troublesome. Now Jian Wushuang doesn't have that time, so after the time and space of Guu is out, you can find a god-forging master in the 8 tribulations realm at will to repair it and use it. For example, it can breed metal life. He has infinite life force. There is also infinite power of all things. The power of all things can be transformed into divine power. At that time, with the silver pyramid, countless armies will be able to be born. This time, among the treasures he got, this pyramid can only be seen. Although the treasures given by the Realm King are precious, they can also be bought. But this pyramid cannot be bought with money. Even in the southern time and space, it is the top metal treasure. Treasures at the level of the 9 tribulations must at least be forged and repaired by the master of the universe of the 8 tribulations. Whoa! Inside the pyramid. Wu Zuo visited at random and said curiously, "Brother Wushuang, your treasure can be powerful, and the space is not bad. Sitting has a face." Now Wu Zuo, like a son of an aristocratic family, likes to compare. Holding a wine glass in one hand, behind the other, there is quite the honor of a big boss. I just remodeled it at will. In fact, the internal source and structure are damaged. I was too ruthless at the beginning. Jian Wushuang also took the opportunity to brag about himself. What he said was also the truth, and it was really because he shot too hard. Otherwise, it can be kept more complete. Wu Zuo shook the wine glass, and when he heard that this treasure was still damaged, he immediately said, "Then we have to repair it quickly. I will introduce you to someone. The ancient existence of our northern time and space, and the study and casting of billions of years, will definitely help you repair it." Chapter 5970. As soon as he heard that it was an eternity, Jian Wushuang came to his senses. In fact, whoever existed in the ancient times has just met Wu Zuo. But it's okay to help repair a small thing like a treasure. The two chatted for a while, then sat aside and talked about their experiences over the years. Wu Zuo also knew about Jian Wushuang's own affairs. After all, there are only 3 eras, although it is extremely exciting. But it was soon over. But Wu Zuo has been practicing with the Realm King for millions of epochs. Encountered more things. For example, Jian Wushuang met Fan Tianfeng and Zhen Wuyang. Wu Zuo found almost everyone. Except for Hua Qing. He knew where those people were. Hua Qing should be at the ancient moon ruins. Jian Wushuang gave the answer. At the beginning, Hua Qing reminded him not to go to the ancient moon ruins, but now he still has to go. Hearing the ancient moon ruins, Wu Zuo pulled his face down and said in shock, "How could it be in the ancient moon ruins, where is now completely a dead place, and it was completely turned into ashes not long ago?" "Ah," Jian Wushuang said in surprise, "it turned into ashes. When did this happen?" "The moment Danbao became a god, the ancient moon ruins turned into ashes." This Jian Wushuang is still just known. There was also some concern for Hua Qing in my heart. Seeing Jian Wushuang's expression a little embarrassed, Wu Zuo quickly changed the subject and talked about Fan Tianfeng. "The opponent has fallen." "With which fire god?" Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was not surprised, but the deity of the flame fell, and he was a little curious. However, according to what the Realm King said, the annihilation of the original universe is very weak, but it also has a combat power above the peak of the 8 tribulations realm. Killing a fire is normal. Even if they are so far apart, they can kill with one hit. The combat power of the flame gods is difficult to achieve even at the top of the 8 tribulations realm. It is not bad to have about 5 million in divine power. I tried to persuade her back then, but I was too insistent. Jian Wushuang took a sip of wine and said regretfully. Wu Zuo poured the wine on his own and said, "Actually, if the old man of the realm hadn't stopped me, he might have gone back already. When it comes to the Qi temple, their expressions have changed." Jian Wushuang was fine, but felt that 3 epochs had passed. Wu Zuo has really endured a million epochs. From the emperor, step by step to the 7 tribulations realm. For Qi temple, I have long been missing. It also made him more and more loyal to Qi temple. After knowing that Zhen Wuyang was reluctant to bear his wife and children and chose to stay in the universe of Wanliu Shenmu forever, he scolded Zhen Wuyang together. Forget it, he is only in the 5 tribulations realm, and his abilities are limited, and he probably saw the gap with me at the beginning, so he chose to stay, knowing that he can go back and nothing to make up for it. No matter how Zhen Wuyang is said to be, he was also a nobleman in the past, and it is not an exaggeration to say a good word to the other party. Temph, let's not talk about him. Wu Zuo slapped his mouth and wiped the corner of his mouth. Brother Wushuang, you are now the lord of the 6 tribulations realm universe. How is your divine power? They arrived at the ancient moon time and space. All went to divine power. In fact, look at the northern time and space. Most of them are still practicing magic. There are very few people who cultivate the origin. So when the two talked about combat power, they still talked about divine power. My current basic divine power is not much, only 1.5 million. Jian Wushuang confidently reported his basic divine power. 1.5 million basic divine power, the standard of the 7 tribulations realm. But after hearing this, Wu Zuo, who had a lot of knowledge, was a little disappointed and said, "That's really not much." Seeing that the other party dared to look down on him, Jian Wushuang suddenly became angry. "Try." He tilted his head as he spoke, indicating that there was a Dongtian martial arts arena next door. The interior of the valley was built by himself, and it was extremely solid. "Just try it." Wu Zuo also had itchy hands. Although Jian Wushuang said that his basic power is only 1.5 million. Not to mention the explosion. The reason why he was disappointed was because the shock that Jian Wushuang gave him was too strong. When he is a monarch, his divine power can explode to more than 100,000. The Lord of the 6 tribulations realm universe needs at least 2 million to make a bottom line. When he was able to fight Jian Wushuang before, Jian Wushuang was a Taoist, so he couldn't be deceived negative a junior. Later, the two reached a level, and the result was no opponent at all. Now he has finally caught up with Jian Wushuang again, and even overwhelmed Jian Wushuang. Reached the level of the Lord of the 7 tribulations realm universe. Moreover, he cultivated the peak secret technique of the Realm King, and he was also able to integrate his dojo into his body. Like Jian Wushuang, without reaching the 8 tribulations realm, you can give your own origin universe that you carry with you. To put it simply, it is to put the origin universe into the body of one's own god. Although Wu Zuo is only the master of the 7 tribulations realm universe, he can rely on his own cosmos dojo to be comparable to the top of the 8 tribulations realm. The ordinary lord of the 7 tribulations realm can match the ordinary 8 tribulations realm by virtue of the dojo. As a disciple of the Realm King, Wu Zuo is naturally much stronger than the general master of the 7 tribulations realm universe. "Please." Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and the two figures flashed into the martial arts field at the same time. Space changes. "What kind of battlefield do you want?" Wu Zuo froze for a moment and said, "Desert." Whoa. The martial arts field instantly turned into an endless desert. "Is this all right?" Wu Zuo was surprised. Jian Wushuang also said indifferently, "Of course." The two face each other far away. God is unmoved. Not in a hurry to explode. Swish. Wu Zuo took the lead. The figure instantly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang, and slapped it with a palm. Shook the entire desert. The surrounding gravel swept the sky, obscuring the sky, like the end of the day. Jian Wushuang didn't dodge either, and to learn from each other would require divine power to collide. Otherwise it's not interesting. But after taking this palm, he regretted it again. The basic divine power is as high as 2.5 million. Brother Wu's were is very good, Jian Wushuang exclaimed, and secretly said in his heart, no wonder he is so crazy, the basic divine power is more than 2 million. After Wu's were heard it, he shot and said modestly, it's not too high or not, it's only 1 million more than you. Really? Jian Wushuang chuckled, and a dark armor appeared on his body. The divine power instantly increased by 500,000. This is a robbery. The crazy-running robbery brought him 500,000 basic divine power. Instantly raised a level, he took the initiative to punch Wu's chest. Wu's did not guard against it, and guarded with advance. When he pointed out, countless light waves impacted Jian Wushuang's face. Every light wave can kill the ordinary 7 Tribulation Realm scattered robbery powerhouse. Jian Wushuang had to step back. However, after pulling the distance, Wu's refused to let go, his hands together, constantly blasting light waves and rushing towards Jian Wushuang. The crackling sound shook the entire desert. Wu's let out a low roar, blasting out 1 million attacks every moment, and stopped after a full incense stick. Chapter 5971. With such a high-intensity attack, his breathing did not change. How about it? In the dust in the sky, Jian Wushuang could not be seen. Happy. Jian Wushuang put his hands down in front of him. Just resisted so many attacks. Really happy. That feeling of being in a fight was quickly found. In the years he entered Wanliu, he seldom shot. He was even more itchy than Wu's were. What's more enjoyable is yet to come. Wu's exclaimed, look at me. The power of the realm king, hum. The breath on Wu's body suddenly turned golden. Divine power also began to greatly increase. The number of interest times has been fully increased, from 2.5 million to 3 million. Very good. Jian Wushuang praised. The power of the realm king can increase the power of 500,000, which is indeed very good. No wonder it was the secret technique of the king of the king's box. Wu's smiled and said his whole card directly. Tell Jian Wushuang that he can exert 5 times the power of the world god. That is to say, in the peak state, the divine power can reach 5 million. It is already the threshold of the top of the 8 tribulations realm. This is not even the origin dojo. Even if the source dojo is increased by 20% by 40%, there are still 6 million divine powers. Wu's combat power really impressed him. But he is not weak. The power of the beast god hum. 5 times. Jian Wushuang let out a low roar, and his divine power increased from 2 million to 3 million. 5 times increased the power of 1 million. Now the divine power is equal to Wu's were. The two fought together again. Continue to madly attack each other with divine power. Playing in full swing. Hearty. After fighting the magic, fight again. The two of them supported with both hands and burned with divine power. Whoosh. Everyone gasped. Snapped. Jian Wushuang raised his leg and kicked Wu's away. Haha, it seems that I still have the upper hand in terms of strength. Wu's who was kicked away, let out a smug smile. Jian Wushuang wiped the sweat from his forehead and said disdainfully, what a joke, that's because I didn't use all my strength. The two opened up again. Facing each other. How about all your strength? After Wu's gasped for a while, he directly mobilized the source to restore the lost divine power and reached his peak state. Jian Wushuang nodded, feeling that it was almost the same, and it was time to touch it with all his strength. With a move of mind, the force of life directly restores the injury. The fight just now was still a small fight. Just a warm-up. Neither of them have leaked their cards yet. Hum. Wu's fell and exploded. 5 times the power of the world burst out in an instant. Divine power also exploded from 3 million to 5 million. This powerful divine power shook the desert. Around his body, there are also strands of golden arcs. The eyebrows and eyes have undergone tremendous changes and become thicker, which is the thickness of divine power. After seeing Wu's was peak combat power. Not to be outdone, Jian Wushuang let out a low roar, and the aura on his body began to change. Blue! Wu's were exclaimed. Boom! A powerful breath rose instantly. The power of the beast was completely contracted. Instead, Jian Wushuang wrapped in a blue arc. This move is called Super Eternal Transformation. Jian Wushuang's eldest mother and son pointed at herself and introduced her proud peak secret technique. It was created by him himself. Naturally proud, Jiyu Span used Super Eternal Thickening, and his divine power also increased to 5 million. Similar to Wu's were. But he is only the lord of the universe of the six tribulations realm. Seeing that Jian Wushuang was as powerful as himself, Wu's were let out a smile. The six tribulation realm is as powerful as his seven tribulation realm. This is Jian Wushuang. Boom. The two shot at the same time. At the moment of the shot, the ground rises a vortex. In the vortex of the ellipse is their origin dojo. Wu's was dojo has increased his divine power by a full 30%. Divine power reached 6.5 million. Jian Wushuang also leaked a surprised expression. He didn't expect Wu's was origin dojo to be so powerful. When his origin dojo reaches the limit state, one universe can increase 4 cities. One universe, the power of 100,000 black holes. This is much stronger than Wu's were. If the second universe is formed, can increase by 5%. However, Wu's were learned from each other, he did not need to increase so much. It only increased by about 30%. Reached 6.5 million. When two people are at their peak, they can easily shatter the space. Break everything. They have all reached the top level of the 8 tribulations realm. Every time they collided, the body of the gods trembled. Brother Wushuang, you still haven't let me down, this can be tied with me. Wu's were moved his numb wrists. He hadn't experienced such a peak match in a long time. I wasn't used to it for a while, but it's really been a lot of comfortable days. The bones are softened, this is not good. Jian Wushuang was suspended in the air, but he didn't feel that way. You have to pay attention, if you are not careful, I will crush you again. Haha, impossible. Wu's were rushed again, fists and feet added together. He does not use the treasure, the divine body is the strongest treasure. He can shatter the treasures of the 7 tribulations of the universe. Clang. Jian Wushuang pulled out the sword of myriad tribulations, instantly causing the surrounding time and space to freeze, and his voice became cold. Really? As soon as the divine sword came out, Wu's were felt a little regretful. I forgot about it. He forgot that Jian Wushuang was a kendo practitioner. Or the ultimate kendo. This time, there is a difference. Or is Jian Wushuang saving face for the other party, otherwise pure divine power can win Wu's were. Wu's were can also see that Jian Wushuang's divine power has never been controlled in the same way as his. Definitely save face for yourself. Thinking of this, he is not hiding either. Since I have taken out the eating guys, then I will not hide it. Wu's were took a half step back, clenched his fists, and said in a low voice, let's see, the strongest unique skill I have learned. Jian Wushuang held the sword of myriad tribulations and said indifferently, one move determines the outcome. Good. The two opened up. Jian Wushuang was thinking about which sword to use. The sword of life is a little weak. The same goes for the sword of death. Using samsara, I was afraid that Wu's was loss would be too ugly. Neutralize it, or use that trick. In an instant, a sword appeared in his hand. One black and one white. Double sword slide. Jian Wushuang bowed his head and swooped out, life and death walking together. Wu's were Shuangquan gathered divine power and shouted angrily, Jie Wangquan. The shadow of the fist covers the entire sky, and 1,000 thunders are drawn with one punch. Above the sky, thousands of fist shadows appeared. Like myriad beasts galloping towards Jian Wushuang. Myriad beasts collided with 2 swords, one black and one white. Destroyed in an instant. There are constantly boxing shadows being broken open by sword energy. These are not enough to worry about. The battle between the two will only be decided when they collide. Chapter 5972. Chapter 5977. You are the one who won. The two swords cut open. Black and white split the world. The fist shadow sank into the sky. The two of them made a mistake, and the winner has been divided. With their backs facing each other, the two put away their respective breaths at the same time and returned to normal. Losing. No, you won my martial arts field. Jian Wushuang couldn't help laughing. I originally built this cave to cultivate under normal conditions in the future, but it can also withstand the 8 tribulations realm. In the battle of the top powerhouses, I didn't expect that the blow just now turned Dongtian into 2 halves, and even shattered your fists. Wu Zuo heard the loud voice, so, I really took advantage of it, but don't worry, I will get you a better one when you arrive at the eternal realm of heaven. Saying this on the face, the hands behind his back couldn't help shaking. The sword just now almost broke his hands. If it wasn't for Jian Wushuang's back and slashing the sword energy in this cave, he would have been seriously injured at least. Jian Wushuang's combat power is still as terrifying as before. Even if he practiced with the Realm King for so long, he was still inferior to Jian Wushuang. But it's okay, at least now I can keep up with Jian Wushuang's footsteps. In the past, they didn't even have the ability to learn from each other. So he wasn't too disappointed. The time for the two to discuss is only an hour. At this hour, they had already arrived in the territory of the daughter's country. The pyramid is suspended above the daughter country. Attracted a lot of strong onlookers. But the pyramid could not be broken. Can't even feel the breath. For this, the king of Yunji was alarmed. In recent years, the ancient wood continent has not been peaceful. All powerhouses have gone through. So be careful, otherwise, an accident may destroy the daughter's country. The ancient moon divine sect couldn't save them. After seeing this pyramid, the Lord Yunji was greatly surprised. I have never even seen such a treasure. Just when she was curious, Jian Wushuang took Wu Zuo out of the pyramid. Lord Yunji, long time no see. Jian Wushuang felt some remorse in his heart as he looked at the gentle Lord Yunji. At the beginning, it was agreed to protect Jin Chen. In the end, Jin Chen still fell. King Yunji looked up and followed the voice, and found out that it was Jian Wushuang, and he was not too shocked. Empress Fengchen has already told her about the infinite world. It is no secret that Jian Wushuang entered the Wanliu Shenmu. It's been a few years since we saw each other. King Yunji's expression was indifferent. Obviously, Jian Wushuang did not protect Jin Chen well, and there was some complaints. He didn't even mean to ask him to come in and sit down, he just stood in the air. Jian Wushuang was a little embarrassed. Wu Zuo didn't know the inside story, and felt that the other party was a little disrespectful, so he wanted to show his hand, but was stopped by Jian Wushuang. I'm sorry about Jin Chen. Jian Wushuang bowed slightly, took out 2 mustard seeds, and said, "These things, on behalf of Jin Chen, I present to you and the Empress. There are many treasures in these 2 mustard seeds. Among them, in the mustard seed given to the Lord of Yunji, there is also Jin Chen's relic. Since the other party likes Jin Chen so much, then give it to Lord Yunji. As for the Queen, it is already very good that he can give treasures to the other party. The fall of Jin Chen is entirely the fault of the Empress. If it wasn't for abandoning them at the beginning, Jin Chen would not have fallen." When the Lord Yunji heard that there was Jin Chen's relic, he took 2 mustard seeds and his face softened a little. Gumu continent, there is nothing to remember. Repay the kindness. About to leave. There is also a benefactor, Lianxing. He also owed the other a favor. However, the two of them roamed Wanliu Shenmu together, and the words were all finished. The matter of human affection is estimated to be paid later. Now he has to follow Wu Zuo to Tiansang Eternal Realm to find the 2 brothers Dongsheng and Wanyan. When everyone gathers together, it is almost time to leave. "Let's go," Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Take Wu Zuo back to the inside of the pyramid again. Swish. Mitsubishi pyramid a flash, direct leaving the ancient wood continent. To the void in the ancient moon space. Who was it just now? Wu's curiosity came up, and he began to ask continuously. Jian Wushuang laughed at himself. A person who is kind to me. He didn't say much, but changed the subject and asked about Dongsheng and Wanyan. Originally, I was going to find Tongtian Buddha first. It's just that something happened to Dongsheng and Wanyan. The two of them had to be born into the eternal realm. Fix the pyramid, by the way. Now that the speed of repair is not enough, it can catch up with his shuttle universe. And don't bother rushing. He and Wu's were eating and drinking inside. In a few days, he left the ancient moon space-time. Into the Badlands. Where is the largest area in the northern time and space? There is no long river of time and space. It is said to be the other side, but it is desolate. Not to mention practitioners, there is not even a breath of life. Just some icy stones, drifting aimlessly in the void. The ancient moon space-time is relatively close to the sky and the eternal realm. It only takes a few months to arrive. Going forward in the barren land is the most boring. Ordinary robbery powerhouses need several epochs to fly alone. The speed of the two of them is faster than that of the 8 Tribulations realm. In the entire northern time and space, I am afraid that no more than 10 people can be faster than this pyramid. So much so that those thieves who relied on intercepting and killing practitioners who traveled through the barren land did not dare to pay their attention. You don't need to read it, knows that it is a super-existing flying treasure. Even if they were given 10 courage, they would not dare to kill them. After such a boring flight for several months, they finally reached the eternal realm. The opening of the ancient moon era was because of the goddess. The first lord of the 9 Tribulations realm universe. Turn your own origin universe into one of the long rivers of time and space. And Tiansang eternal world is different. This is the oldest tributary to evolve from. Later, because of the blessing and stability of an ancient existence, it became a huge eternal world. Will never end. There are also many powerhouses in the eternal realm, and they are gradually increasing, unlike the cultivators in the ancient moon time and space who are bound to the goddess. Getting weaker. Now that the goddess has completely disappeared, the background of the ancient moon spacetime has declined again. If it weren't for the appearance of the god of life, perhaps the entire ancient moon spacetime would be heading for decline. This is also the distance from the eternal world. God. Named after an eternal being. The forces of the entire Tiansang eternal realm are intricate. On the contrary, it is not as united as Guu time and space. At least the ancient moon sect clearly unified the ancient moon time and space. There are 8 star sects in 9 days and 10 places. But Tiansang eternal realm did not do this. The ancient powerhouse, Tiansang, has the strength to unite the forces of the entire Tiansang eternal realm. End of this chapter. Chapter 5973. But he didn't. Because the Real powerhouse seeks power. This is the layout. In order to stabilize its position, the ancient moon god sect would only emphasize its position. Treat the ancient moon sect as a god. The solidification of the strong. On the contrary, it is not conducive to the strength of a long river of time and space. Tiansang eternal realm, from top to bottom. They are all fighting and killing, and the powerhouses in time and space are springing up like bamboo shoots after a rain, and tens of thousands of epochs may be replaced. In these battles, the powerhouses of the 8 Tribulations realm may fall. The fall of the 7 Tribulations is even more common. The 6 forces in the eternal realm of the sky. Except for the Tiansang Palace, almost all of them have risen in recent times. Except for the Tiansang Palace, there is no power that can be spread all the time. Jian Wushuang and Wu's came to Tiansang eternal world this time. Mainly do 2 things. One is to repair the pyramid left by the metal light brain. The other is to find Dongsheng and Wanyan. Whoa! The pyramid has entered the eternal realm of the sky without knowing it, and set off in the endless stars. The eternal world chose the universe as its framework. Continents are rare. Instead, there are more planets. On most planets, life is still mundane. The real powerhouses are all fighting in some secret territories. Looking at the different scenes, Jen Wushuang was quite curious. The eternal realm is really unusual. Looking at the spacetime through space, you can see that it is much more stable than the ancient moon spacetime. At least able to withstand the battle of the 8 tribulations realm. Not a battle, even time and space are destroyed. Wu Zue, who has a lot of knowledge, smiled lightly. Actually, it's nothing. You will understand when you enter the world God continent in the future. These are all material worlds. Compared with the real world of rules, the eternal world is very fragile. Then I'll go to experience it in the future. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then asked the specific information about Dongxing and Wanyan. Wu Zuoshu said, the two brothers Dongxing and Wanyan actually got along pretty well. Back then, the old realm king sent them into a purgatory to stimulate their potential, and they soon became the masters of the universe. What kind of inheritance? Most of them are based on talent cultivation, built through the foundation of Qi Temple, and coupled with the opportunity of the old man Jeri, their progress is extremely fast, but there have been some stagnation in these years, and encounters a lot of trouble. Trouble? Jian Wushuang knew that it was trouble for Dongxing and Wanyan, but a trivial matter for him, so he asked directly, I heard you say so urgently, are you being chased by the enemy? Almost, after the two of them entered the Eternal Realm, they joined the Gorfiend Palace as the masters of the universe. Later, because of a mission, they were sentenced to the Gorfiend Palace, and they have been hunted down for tens of thousands of epochs. Recently, the Gorfiend the Temple even sent a 7 Tribulations realm powerhouse to hunt down the two of them. Jian Wushuang was startled when he heard it, and said in amazement, with such a big hand, he sent 7 Tribulation realm powerhouses to hunt down the 2-6 robbery realm masters of the universe? Gorfiend Hall, he had heard of it. A new superpower. It is not the 6 peak forces in the eternal realm of Tiansang. However, this Gorfiend Hall master is also the number 1 character. He is the new master of the universe in the 8 Tribulations realm, and his combat power is very good. The background is also relatively mysterious, as if it has an inexplicable relationship with the Tiansang Palace. Then find their place first. Jian Wushuang's mind moved, and with the pyramid as the core, a thought force containing cause and effect burst out. He begins to search for Dongxing and Wanyan. Heavenly Eternal Realm. Valley 1000 Mercury Domain. This star field belongs to the edge of the eternal realm of the sky, and it is very close to the barren land. It is a necessary place for many foreign practitioners to go to the eternal realm of the sky. Because of the large flow, this place is also mixed. From time to time, there are some strong men in the realm of 7 tribulations, and the master of the universe in the realm of 6 tribulations is also very common. Most importantly, this is a place where no one cares. Less oil and water, mixed personnel. It is not easy for anyone to come, and all the forces are disgusted by this, and there is not even a strong stationed in it. Because of this matter, this place has also become a holy place in the eternal world of the sky. Some powerful people wanted by the big forces all drilled here. Because of this, Dongxing and Wanyan hid in the Chenshui star territory. And it's on the 1000 Mercury. 1000 Mercury star was refined by a powerful person, comparable to the size of a universe. There are many strong people inside, and they come from everywhere. It is the core of Chenshui star territory. Outside Chenshui city, the sight of hundreds of millions of practitioners entering and exiting together is extremely spectacular. Among them, the inconspicuous 3 people moved slowly in the crowd. 2 men and 1 woman. The 3 quietly entered Chenshui city following the flow of people. After entering the city, the 3 did not stop, and followed the sparse crowd into a hutong. It is said to be a hutong, but on this path, there are thousands of poor houses. Some of these cave houses are for rent. The 3 randomly went to a low door, took out some cosmic crystals, and entered a cave. Although the cave house is a bit shabby, the space is not small, covering an area of tens of kilometers, with gardens and courtyards. After entering the cave, the 3 of them did not relax either, but after checking the large formation in the cave mansion, they set up another large formation and let out a sigh of relief. It's finally here. The mighty figure among the 3 took off his hat, revealing his scarred face, and sighed. 3 days. It only takes 3 days. The senior who is in contact with me will come to pick us up, and then we will be able to leave the eternal realm of heaven. The scarred-faced man said in a deep tone, "Don't be careless, although any senior doesn't know our details, but you know the intelligence system of the Gorefiend Palace. Even if this is Chenshui City, there will be a lot of eyeliners. Let's not talk about this. When we return to the ancient moon time and space, it will be really safe." The woman among the three was very curious about GUU spacetime. "Wanyan, what are your plans when you arrive at GUU spacetime?" Thanks. You'll know when the time comes." "As I said, we have a big secret." Wanyan smiled lightly. The scar-faced man also smiled when he heard it. They are all waiting for the moment to return to the ancient moon spacetime. Except for the woman, the three of them were Dongsheng and Wanyan, whom Jian Wushuang was familiar with. It's just that Dongsheng, who used to be brave in the past, has more scars on his face. And Wanyan also lost an arm. This is a camouflage, and it is really hurt a lot. The two of them took the woman and fled all the way, and met many strong men who intercepted them in the Gorefiend Palace. It can be said that it took all risks to reach this thousand-water city. Brother Dongsheng, how much confidence do you think the two of us will return to the Qi Temple with our current strength? Wanyan didn't shy away from any woman, so she said it directly. https:// Please remember this book's first domain name. Apex Novel Mobile Version Reading URL. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.